Good, so it's being live streamed now. Good. So maybe we'll begin now. There's nothing more in the chat box, so I'll close the chat box down so don't get distracted by that. Lovely. Good. So yeah, really lovely to see you all. Thanks for making this time to come together to support one another in practice. As we all know, meditation can be quite a solitary activity, turning our awareness inwards. And it's very, very supportive to do it with other people. Even though we're on Zoom, I think it's quite remarkable, the sense of connectedness that we can get using Zoom. And also we get people from all over the world, which is really wonderful, the sense of expansiveness, the sense of connection that's transcending geography, circumstances, and so on. And we usually get quite a lot of us here at these sessions who are living with some kind of health condition, if you've come through Breathworks. And again, many of us would find it quite difficult to get to a physical venue. So the fact that we can come into your home is really wonderful, and that you can join us. Lovely. So today I thought we'd do quite a simple practice. For those of us who read the news at all, it just seems to be endlessly speculating about how ghastly everything's going to become in the autumn and the winter here in the Northern Hemisphere. And I think for those in different parts of the world, you will have your version of that, because we are living in these quite uncertain, unstable times. We don't know what's going to happen with energy supplies and costs and all these kind of things. And it's very easy for our minds to get caught up in that kind of speculative, anticipatory anxiety. I think that's quite a good way of describing it. We're anxious about something that may happen in the future, which is totally understandable. Of course, we're going to have very genuine concerns about all these things. So I'm certainly not saying there's anything wrong with that. I have my own thoughts of fears for the future and so on. But a very, very good way to manage these kind of thoughts, manage these kind of emotions that are very future oriented, is simply to come into the present. Because the only time that we're fully alive is now. Everything in the future are just ideas, and everything about the past is just memories. But the only time that we're really experiencing our thoughts and our emotions and our physical sensations is now. The only breath that you're genuinely experiencing is the one that's happening now. Otherwise, it's just a memory or an anticipation. So a very good way to manage any tendency towards anticipatory anxiety is train and calling the mind back to the present, calling the mind back to the here and now. The future will arise. The future will definitely come. None of us actually know, even if we're going to be alive in 6 months' time. But let's just say we are. 6 months' time, there we will be. And that will be another present moment. That will be another experience that we can take moment by moment by moment. And we have enormous resilience as humans. And in my own journey of living with chronic pain, this teaching on chunking it down to moments has been enormously helpful. And also chunking it down to what's actually happening now. What is my actual experience now, rather than all my thoughts and worries about my experience. And almost always, I find that my experience right now, it may have pain, it may have difficulties, but then there's also aspects of my experience which are pleasurable, loving, enriching. So the present moment always contains quite a spectrum of experience. But when our minds are rushing into the future and worrying about what might happen, usually I think we only think about the bad things. It's very interesting, isn't it? We worry about the bad things. We don't also think, it will be the autumn. There will be all the beautiful colors of the leaves falling from the tree. There will be the trees. There'll be that very sort of exquisite light that we can get in the autumn. In the winter, there'll be that sense of the still dark of the winter, which also has its beauty. So the main thing I'm saying is that each moment has many, many, many different dimensions to it. And this future that we're worrying about, it will turn up as moments, and we will live those moments to the best of our ability. And if we can practice by being present now, that's the practice. The practice is what's happening right now. How can I be with my experience right now? We're building that sort of muscle in the brain to be present, and then that will give us the resilience to cope with whatever future moments contains. Okay, so we're going to do a body awareness practice today. And the reason we do that is because when we come into the body and we rest our awareness inside sensation, we really are present. And we can't be lost in thoughts about the future and resting our awareness in sensations in the present at exactly the same time. We might bounce between the two, but the training is just keeping on coming back, bum on chair, feet on floor, breathing, sensations in the body, and then we're present. So we'll do it through the body, and we'll open to anything that's painful, and we'll also open to anything that's pleasant in the body, so we can get a sense of that richness of each present moment. Good. Okay, so let's get ready. If you establish a position where you'll be as comfortable as possible, and I know for some of you, comfort isn't actually an option, you've got pain or discomfort, so as comfortable as possible, and really attending to your posture. Do you need a different chair? Do you need a different pillow? All these kind of things. Are you warm enough? Are you cool enough? So taking time to get ourselves set up. Closing the eyes if that's comfortable or you'd like to, or else you could lower your gaze. It's up to you. And having a sense of beginning to arrive in the moment and in the body. So let's feel into the contact between the body and the surface that it's resting upon. If we're sitting, this will be the bottom of the torso, the buttocks resting on the chair, the feet on the floor perhaps. Seeing if we can yield into that contact. Having the hands resting on the lap or on the legs if we're sitting. If we're lying down, there'll be contact between the back of the body and the bed or the floor and the back of the head, and the pillow and the cushion, and you can have your knees bent, feet flat on the floor, or have your legs outstretched. It's completely up to you. If you're lying down, you could either have your hands palm downwards, resting on the belly or the hips or the ribs, or have your arms outstretched at the sides of the body, palms upwards. Just whatever feels most comfortable at this time. And to help ourselves arrive, if you want to, you could take a deeper breath in, and on the out breath, release and let go a little bit more. Let the next in-breath flow back in its own time. You could do that a couple of times if you wanted. And seeing if you can allow the out breath to flow all the way out. Releasing, yielding, letting go with each out breath. Letting go of what we've just been doing, letting go of what's coming next, and seeing if we can arrive in each present moment. When you're ready, you can allow your breathing to find its own natural rhythm. I've just got a few lines from someone called Naira Wahid. Goes like this. And I said softly to my body, I want to be your friend. My body took a long breath and replied, I have been waiting for this my whole life. And I said softly to my body, I want to be your friend. My body took a long breath and replied, I have been waiting my whole life for this. So in this practice, let's see if we can befriend our experience of embodiment, even if it's painful, even if the body is experiencing pain. It is the way it is, and befriending our experience is much better than resisting and fighting our experience if we're wanting to have any sense of ease and peace in our lives. So first of all, let's very gently invite our awareness deep in the body. So having a sense of the whole body from the inside out, first of all, tuning in. Being aware of the shape and the weight of the body as it sits here or lies here. Sensations in the body, the space it occupies. So having a general sense, first of all. Quality of opening on the in-breath, subsiding, yielding, resting back into the chair, the bed, the floor with each out-breath. So we're befriending the body and we're befriending gravity. Now let's allow our awareness to pour down inside the body and to come into the feet. And I always like to imagine that awareness is like water. It's pouring down and it's resting in the feet. And maybe we're becoming aware of the feet through sensation. Or maybe there's numbness, dullness. But the main thing is that we're resting inside the feet rather than thinking about the feet from the outside or as a concept. But we're resting inside our feet as an experience. And now pouring up through the ankles and allowing awareness to fill the legs as well. So there's the feet and the legs now, full of awareness. Feeling the shape of the knees. And again, maybe our legs are becoming known to us from the inside through sensation, or maybe temperature, maybe buzzing or tingling, or maybe dullness or numbness. But resting inside the legs and the feet for a few moments. Knowing that when we're inside the body like this, we can't be lost in thoughts about the future at exactly the same time. And coming to the buttocks. If we're sitting, letting the buttocks rest and yield into the chair. So we're not perching on top, but we're yielding into the surface, resting. Likewise, if we're lying down, letting the buttocks be soft, allowing our weight to rest down through this point of contact. And the hips, allowing the legs to fall away from the hips into space. Hips rest. Now let's flow up into the lower back first of all. Seeing if awareness can fill the lower back. So there's the shape of the spine. There's the breadth of the lower back. Maybe there's breathing showing up in the lower back, a very gentle broadening, opening on the in-breath, subsiding, resting on the out-breath. Maybe there's discomfort or pain. Maybe there's pleasant sensations. Maybe there's a quality of the lower back being very gently rocked and cradled by breathing. Maybe it's dull and numb. Seeing if we can rest inside this part of the body for a few moments, befriending it. Flowing up through the middle back now to come to rest in the upper back. Back of the ribs, the back of the lungs, the spine, the shoulder blades. Letting her awareness rest inside this part of the body. Resting inside breathing, inside the upper back. And being aware of the whole back, the length and the breadth. Being breathed. Now coming to the front of the torso, let's first of all rest inside the abdomen. Whole soft front of the body between the pelvis at the bottom and the ribs at the top. Maybe there's a very gentle swelling on the in-breath, subsiding on the out-breath. Or maybe there's other experiences showing up in this part of the body. The main thing is to see if we can rest inside it rather than thinking about it in the abstract. Maybe there's pain, maybe there's pleasant feelings, maybe there's dullness, maybe there's a whole lot of different feelings in this part of the body, opening to everything. Coming up to the chest now, to include the chest. So there's a sense of all the areas we've rested within, the legs and the back and the belly, and now including the chest and the foreground of awareness. The lungs, the ribs, the breastbone, collarbone, opening, subsiding with each breath cycle. There's no need to fixate on the breathing now. Resting inside the flow. If it feels a bit intense, you could always broaden your awareness to where the belly and the back and the legs. If your breathing feels disturbed. So let's broaden now to be aware of everything that we've rested within so far with a sense of wholeness. So there's the feet and the legs and the whole torso. Our awareness is resting inside all these parts of the body. Inside the sensations or the numbness or the tingling or the buzzing, the temperature. Noticing the way everything's changing and flowing through the moments. No two moments are exactly the same. And now including the shoulders. At this point, just checking that the hands are still supported. So we can let the arms be heavy and let the shoulders fall away from the midline of the body into gravity. Maybe falling slightly down and back. Letting awareness flow inside the shoulders and all the way down inside the arms. The upper arms and the elbows and the lower arms. The wrists and the hands and the fingers and the thumbs. Again, seeing if we can rest inside rather than thinking about the arms in the abstract. Resting inside the sensations and the temperature or the dullness, the numbness, whatever's happening. Inhabiting it, moment by moment. And now coming back up through the arms, and let's come into the neck and the head. If we're sitting, checking the angle of the head, letting it be poised on the top of the spine. Maybe tucking the chin in just a tiny bit to release through the base of the skull and yet openness in the throat. If we're lying down, letting the head be heavy, resting on the pillow or the cushion. And coming into the head and the face now, so allowing our awareness to pour up inside the head, inside the face, letting the head be a limb of the body. So feeling into the sensations in the head, the temperature, contact between the eyelids perhaps if your eyes are closed, cheeks and the lips and the tongue and the jaw. So rather than the head just being about thinking, which is the way it can seem so much of the time, let's let the head also be about feeling, sensation, grounded embodiment. Letting the jaw, the tongue be soft so the wind of the breath can flow in and out of the body. And now broadening. Let's broaden to be aware of this whole experience of embodiment. Right here, right now, in each present moment, fully alive. Letting everything be within our field of awareness, unpleasant sensations, pleasant sensations, breath, buzzing, tingling, energy, temperature. Seeing if we can let everything flow through the moments without automatically pushing against anything unpleasant, sticking onto anything pleasant. Letting everything arise and pass, flowing through the moment. And letting our field of awareness be stable, open, receptive. Every time you notice yourself tipping into resistance or aversion, in the noticing we can release and open. Every time you notice your awareness is sticking onto something, a sensation or a thought, in the noticing we can release. Now bring a little bit of movement in the body as we bring the practice to a close. Maybe the hands, the feet. And seeing if we can keep this quality of awareness going as we begin to move or flowing. Very often, as soon as we start to move, we immediately grip in the body, in our thoughts, our emotions. Get ready for action. We'll get tense in the body. And it's a very interesting practice to keep a sense of flow in the body, the mind, our emotions as we come into movement, keeping the breathing soft. And when you're ready, coming into bigger movements, bringing the formal practice to a close, but keeping the awareness going. Opening your eyes if you've had them closed. Yeah, I'm feeling the effect of the practice. And for those of you who are here for the first time, feel free just to slip away if you'd like to, or we usually stay on for 10 minutes or so and people share what they noticed, and I read out the comments so that you don't have to peer at the screen or if you're unable to see the screen for any reason. And also just to remind you that we're totally committed to offering these sessions free of charge, particularly in the times that we're living in. But if you'd like to make a donation, that would obviously be very warmly received to enable us to develop more resources and keep doing this work for people. So Ollie's going to put a little donation link in the box, in the chat box. And you can also make a monthly payment within that donate button as well, if you'd rather do it that way. Good, thank you. So I'll just start reading out some of these comments. So Joe says, thank you, Vidyamala. A recent scan has indicated surgery might be needed on my ankle. There is such a fine balance between preparing for the future practical implications of the surgery to be ready, yet needing that calm awareness and sense of presence in this moment to avoid being struck by the second arrow. I've also become aware that I'm thirsty, calm but thirsty. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a very, very interesting point you made there, that of course we need to plan, there's certain things we need to plan for in the future. And the way we will meet the whatever the future is coming, like having surgery, if we can have this habit of calm and presence built within us, then we'll be able to meet those circumstances all the better when they arrive. So that's very, very, very well put, Joe. Thank you. Sarah, thank you so much. That was great. Wendy, that was wonderful. Thank you. Julie, what a beautiful reminder about being in the present moment. Such a nourishing practice too. Thank you. Begonia, thank you so much in capital letters. Louise, wonderful practice tonight. Thank you. And Marion, my awareness felt like sparkling water flowing through parts of my body, waking it up and stimulating healing, also releasing pent-up tears. Thank you. Yeah, so that's also very interesting, isn't it? That coming into the body, even if the body's got discomfort or pain, if we let go of some of the resistance and the tightness and the hardness, there can be a quality of healing. And then sometimes as well, there can be a release of tears if we've been gripping and holding against the pain. And of course, often tears are tension release for many of us. Lorraine, thanks for Jamala and everyone, especially Ollie. Yes, Ollie, who's behind the scenes doing the tech, as always. Thank you, Ollie. Thank you, Lorraine, for reminding us of Laurie's, very loyal contribution to these sessions. So Lauren said, very difficult pain day, and I really needed the time to just sit. Still lots of pain, but my stomach relaxed and I feel a little better. It's good to hear. And Miriam, thank you very much for the practice. And Miriam is a Breathworks teacher from Brazil. Fantastic. Meg, thank you so much, Vidyamala. That was a very calming and helped me to be in the present. The stress is much less. Thank you. That's good to hear, because at the beginning you said you'd had a really stressful day. Fiona, I have a habit of looking at the past when I could do more instead of what I can do. Yeah, many of us do that as well. And of course, that's so human, so understandable. And there sometimes can be grief and sorrow when we, look into the past and then realize what we've lost. But of course, that's also healing. And again, when you notice you're doing that, just very gently come back to the present, to what is. Donna Marie, thank you so much. Interesting release. Son has COVID again. Still living with it amongst our other challenges, so been tougher going. Much kindness to all in sharing today. Felt a reviving and release of tension, fizzing dispersal. Very thankful. Fizzing dispersal, that's a wonderful phrase. Tension releasing. And Mark had a little nap. Had a little nap then, to be honest. Thank you. Well, one of the things I always say about going to sleep and meditation is I think it's fine. Often many of us are tired, and having a little nap, there can be a quality of rest that can happen if we sleep in a meditation that can be very restorative. So, and if you keep napping and you don't want to nap, then I often say try meditating standing up, because there's further to fall. So that's always very motivating to stay awake. But if you had a little nap, that's fine. Rachel, really helped me getting back into practice, meditating collectively. Been struggling with low mood with the start of the menopause. Glad I made it after work. Thank you. Ruth, first time for me, and it's wonderful to be back meditating with others since finishing the Mindfulness for Health course. Oh, that's great. So warm welcome to you, Ruth. Chiaki, thank you so much. I truly love the quote at the beginning, almost brought me tears. I felt more compassion towards my body being in pain. I was in the sensation and also gently stroking my body in my mind at the same time. That's beautiful. You were in it, in the pain, and gently stroking your body in your mind at the same time. Catherine, my lungs were feeling tight and tired this evening. I'd been overthinking what I'd done to create it. So it was so soothing to be led to different parts of my body, different parts of myself tonight, and switch my manic mind off. Now my chest feels lighter and more expansive despite my fatigue. Thank you. See, there's so much in that, isn't there? Really interesting. So you said it's soothing to be led to different parts of myself tonight and switch my manic mind off. That's brilliant, because as I was saying at the beginning, we can't be right inside the body and lost in these kind of speedy thoughts at the same time. So a good way to calm that down is simply to come into the body. And then your chest feels lighter and more expansive despite my fatigue. And I know that long COVID is part of the situation. So that's really great that your chest feels lighter. Lisa, thank you for today. Same as Joe, I've been booked in for spine surgery today and finding myself getting constantly carried away, fretting about the surgery and finding it difficult to stay present. Although I can see that being able to better stay present would help both pre and post surgery. Thank you. Yeah, so really all the very, very best with your surgery, Lisa. And I've had surgery and I know getting very anxious before surgery is completely normal. But catching the mind, worry, and then think, okay, just come back to the body. And particularly coming back into this quality of wait and rest, sort of feeling the weight of the body resting down into the chair or the bed. Just keep coming back to the present. Rushes off into, how's the surgery going to go? Come back to the present. That's the practice. And it will definitely help. And it will help you stay present both pre and post surgery. Elena, I have nearly fell asleep, thinking what tablet do I need for the pain, but my body decided to reset instead. Didn't notice the time. I needed that. Thank you. Very soothing and nourishing. Yeah, so you nearly fell asleep thinking about tablet for the pain, and then your body just kind of took over, reset, didn't notice the time. Wonderful. Tammy, thank you so much, Vidyamala. Very relaxed, feeling more whole. I did have some memories come up when I was focusing upon my back, just of playground walls when lining up. I think you probably mean like when you're a child lining up in the playground. So this spontaneous memories coming up, that can also happen. Feeling more whole, that's really good. That's obviously what we're looking for, this sense of wholeness, rather than, so if we've got pain, we sort of over focus on the pain, or else we pull back from the pain. Either way, we're not resting in a state of wholeness. So wholeness is a very good word to end on. Yeah, let's leave it there for this evening. Thank you so much for coming, everybody, and staying at the end for this little. I always really enjoy this bit at the end where we share. So if you want to unmute yourselves to say goodbye, then of course do so. And see you soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Bye,
you so
Vidyamala.
much.
Bye, Ollie. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Have a good week.
Everyone, take care.
Be well, everyone.
Be well.